would be like, this is pretty cool for now.
If you was reading that when you were really throwing those D12s,
Yeah.
it hit different.
And then
Hey, greetings everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Heroes Peak podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and here we talk about entertainment, culture, and whatever the hell we feel like. And as always, I am surrounded by my wonderful co-hosts, and we're going to start today with Mike. How you doing today, Mike?
Hey, hanging in there. Freezing my butt off as usual, but it will be warm soon.
You know you can close the windows. It's just a hint from New York. Yeah, we close windows here, so I don't know what Canadians do.
Hey, I'm empathizing with Texas right now, so
Just not Ted Cruz. Okay,
That's
and next, Brookesie. How you doing, Brooks?
Hello, happy, what are we, Wednesday?
Wednesday.
From warm and sunny California.
And that was the target of said Ted Cruz, and now he can suck it.
And now he can.
And of course, next we have Keith. How are your Knicks doing right now, Keith? As long as Derrick Rose is doing something, I don't care otherwise.
They're doing.
And the
that's better than Rush Limbaugh, I can say.
Wow, I didn't even go that deep. But yeah.
Is it time for the Rush Limbaugh jokes?
Mike is in
Bring him
savage
on.
mode.
Bring him on. All right.
Weapon X Mike.
And the person who kicked my ass in fantasy basketball last week.
I almost forgot about that. Yeah.
I did not. It's
No,
James.
you didn't. Don't lie, James.
Yeah, James is sitting at home with his altar, like, yeah.
He's got an altar.
Happy Ash Wednesday, everyone.
Oh, I totally
Yeah.
forgot about that.
First
Hey,
day of
it
life.
Does anybody notice anything different about my face?
No.
Okay, no. You notice you can see my eyeballs? Okay, I got anti-glare glasses.
Okay.
So
okay.
people can actually see me. I can see
I
you.
wasn't sure where this was going.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to bring up something interesting in my life. Obviously, it's not. Speaking of interesting, so we're a couple of days late, but happy Valentine's Day to everybody. How was your Valentine's Day? I got this awesome geeky bouquet from my wife. How was your guys' day? The fact that you couldn't go anywhere.
Well, it's interesting because I know Mike's wife got a nice little Godiva bouquet that so happened to be shipped from the U.S. Compliments of my wife, who brought herself the same package.
Wow.
And sent it to me. It's like, hey, you want some of this? I'm like, oh, thanks. I appreciate that. You didn't get me.
So your wife had to buy their own stuff, is what you're saying.
No, she'd rather just get her stuff because she knows what she likes. But I eventually, take the kids away for a couple of hours so she can relax.
That's nice.
Yeah, so
Important stuff.
normally I grab this Godiva has a nice velvet box of chocolate that I usually grab in one of the Valentine's bears, but all the stores up here are closed. So they decided not to sell. I managed to grab the bear, but they didn't sell that heart box anymore. So James was nice enough to help me out. And then, obviously we couldn't go anywhere because of the pandemic. So we just stayed at home. So
With all the kids.
Mhm.
Just so everybody knows what that means. It means you literally just stayed at home.
Yeah, not as great as last year, but
Netflix and chill is literally Netflix and chill. All right. Speaking of, Brooks, how was yours?
It was great. I had a Valentine, so it was it was good.
Step one.
I know, step one. We just drove around LA because a lot, to your point, a lot of things are closed. Did some sightseeing. Let's see what else. Got flowers, and then went to Taco Bell for dinner.
Taco Bell.
Ooh,
Hey.
Went
nice.
all out.
Yes.
What's gas
Yeah.
between Valentines?
But I didn't want to go to a fancy, I just feel like fancy spots for Valentine's Day are overrated. So it was my choice to go to
Agreed.
Taco Bell.
Hey, that's okay with us.
I'm saying you are awesome.
And Keith, what
Thank
about
you.
you?
I think the Knicks game was on. Yeah.
You love them. You love them a lot, so it's okay. That works. So, okay, I have one question before we pass by this. What is your favorite Valentine's candy? As I'm sitting here eating sweet tart hearts, which are my new favorite Valentine's candy.
I think the Godivas are.
Yeah, probably mine.
Chocolate. You guys are full chocolate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, chocolate Godiva. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of those assorted chocolate boxes.
Yeah, me too. I like those.
Do they come in quality levels? That's the only thing that I don't understand. Like, cause like,
But they usually come in like dark chocolate versus white chocolate versus light chocolate. And
no, I mean as a group, like, are there like higher quality groups? Like, cause I just pretty much go to town.
I think you can pay more.
Yeah, so you know that so you won't get as good a chocolate at CVS as you would Godiva, right? So
yeah, I think you might.
But
like
Godiva doesn't do the assorted. Those are assorted
they do.
boxes that I'm talking about, like
the standard assorted box.
The standard assorted chocolate.
Like the Russell Stover. You mean
Russell Stover? Yeah, Russell Stover is everywhere.
Yeah.
I swear they make their entire budget in 2 days.
You know what I used to get that my wife liked was edible arrangements.
Those things are expensive.
Chocolate.
Those edible arrangements.
I'd rather make that. I'll make that myself.
But
for what
you're a
those
very
are,
talented guy if you can recreate that.
He's got like a steak and he's shoving it on a stick and he just like sticks it on the table.
All of those, the price of those arrangements, might as well do it yourself.
That's right.
I feel like Keith is talking about different edibles than we are talking about.
Oh no, those edibles arrange themselves.
I actually saw keto bouquets like on some website. They were making like they were wrapping the bacon to make it look like a rose and putting on a stick. And...
Well, that's too disgusting. That's too far, man. I mean, I know this keto ice cream, which is already too far, but keto bouquet, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, like mini corn dogs and stuff, right? So.
Oh, God.
Wait, I have a question since it's all men. Do you guys expect a Valentine's gift from your significant other, or is this like a holiday for the ladies?
See, I guess after being together for over 20 years, you kind of get in a routine as to what you know you're going to do, but it's not like I go and expect anything. Whether or not I think I'm going to get it, it's not. Even
when I was single, I didn't expect anything.
No.
You know.
I think
well, that's because you're single.
I think it's
when I meant like non-married dating. That's still something.
Okay. I feel like it's definitely more of a woman-centered holiday.
Treat your woman right holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope you get something out of it at the end of the day.
Whoa.
Like sexual favors, or like
why is it a favor though? Why does it have to be a favor?
James was thinking about getting a new doll or something. He wasn't there.
I'm getting brand new kicks that I didn't ask for. It's pretty nice.
Nice.
All right.
Thank you, by the way. Thank you for the kicks if you're watching. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. All right. So today we have a couple of trailers to talk about. We're going to watch them. We're going to do a little reaction, hopefully a little more exciting. And then we have two more stations. We're going to have Brookesie Bites, of course, favorite up. And we're going to discuss the first two episodes of The Equalizer, that thing we ended up talking about for 10 minutes the other day by accident. Yeah. We'll see whether it was a good conversation, not conversation, whether it was worth it. So first, the trailers. Now, as you all know, we probably know there was a couple of big trailers came out. One slightly bigger than the others. Supposed to break the internet, but it
Fantastic Furious 9. Is that what you're talking about?
I was thinking of that M. Night Shyamalan bit, right?
Oh, that's right. That wasn't a Fantastic Furious 9.
No, what we're talking about, of course, is the Justice League remake known as the Snyder Cut, which is no longer a cut, which is a brand new, according to what I've read, brand spanking new everything.
Yeah, more emo.
So we're gonna watch it and try not to cry, and give a little shtick afterwards to see whether we're excited about this or not. Go ahead, Mike, let it fly. And guys, you can talk over it. It's really
Oh, definitely talk over this. Not much audio.
Yeah, I already did this one, so I'm just gonna be quiet and listen to you guys.
Well, there's a lot of grumbling. Okay, so apparently this is Superman dying and screaming out because he died. Like, and
enjoying his Valentine's Day.
But that's from BVS.
Some favors.
Yeah, but apparently this is what wakes up Doomsday. That him dying wakes up Doomsday. Like, the man just became Superman like a year ago. Why is Doomsday waiting for this to happen?
Doomsday
No.
You're talking about the other guy.
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf.
Not Steppenwolf. I said Doomsday. I meant
Yeah.
UX. I meant what's his name?
Steppenwolf and Darkseid.
Darkseid.
Yeah.
I'm such a good geek. So there he is.
Speaking of
There's
Darkseid.
Darkseid. So this
Thanos light.
wonderful CGI animation.
That dude's on too much keto.
So he's got new gold armor. See, what's killing me is we've seen 90% of this. It's just slightly different. Like, if you've seen the original movie,
Right.
the original Justice League, most of the stuff is there, right?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
add 70 to 100 million of special effects in some scenes.
And some new characters that aren't going to affect the plot at all.
Yeah, I have a feeling Zach has been embezzling some money since he got that contract.
Yeah, he was part of that GameStop.
Yeah.
So he just got so to be clear, the Snyder cuts are just like the original movie with extra CGI stuff going on.
Well, okay, so this is
some footage that wasn't released as part of the original movie.
So this is the
Right.
big fight.
So
Is
basically, you're just getting me to pay money to see the same movie over again.
Well, if you have HBO Max, it's technically not costing you
yeah,
money.
yeah. If you don't have HBO Max,
Hang on, here's the big internet breaker.
We
Oh,
live
yeah.
in a society.
We live
Batman.
in a society.
Joker.
So the whole story, Keith, about the cut supposedly
Ambrose.
was that Zack Snyder, the original director, had shot the entire movie and was putting it together when tragedy struck his family. And so he left the project. Joss Whedon was brought in to finish it. And Joss Whedon, if you remember the Avengers movie, is a very light touch in the sense that he lots of jokes, snarky content, snarky
More
comments,
colors, a little
color,
more light,
yeah,
levity.
that kind of stuff. And whereas this guy, have you ever seen 300?
Yeah.
So he's the director of 300.
And Watchmen and
Mhm.
So his
Watchmen.
his style is very dark, very somber. Everybody's angry and slow motion. That's basically the whole thing. Things are colored yellow a lot. So I make fun of him, but his stuff looks good. It looks cool, but
Yeah.
he doesn't break out of that. He doesn't give you any tension breakers to go, okay, whew, this is a big tough battle. Let's pull back a bit. So it's hard. Yes, you've seen the movie. It's probably going to follow all of the same big steps. Superman has died. Batman has to get the team together. They have to fight Steppenwolf.
My
And
man.
the only big difference is there's going to be a couple of cameos, like the Joker is all of a sudden in this for no reason.
that's
Why not?
possibly Green Lantern Corps.
Flash is
so.
Flash is gonna save his girlfriend, but for no reason that doesn't affect the plot whatsoever. It's just like I'm not sure And it's 4 hours. That's the
It's
other
4
big thing.
hours. That's the other thing.
4
too.
hours.
It's a 4-hour movie.
4 hour movie.
It was so he originally was going to make it. He said it's going to be a 4-hour movie. Then HBO had decided to make it 4 1-hour mini series, 4 1-hour episodes, and then they went back and recently decided again. No,
So-
it's just going to be a 4-hour movie.
All right. So here's my guess: is that if he makes it a mini series or TV series, he doesn't think he can win awards or whatever. If he
Yeah,
makes
they're
it a
not-
movie,
Right.
then
think
he's
so,
in
too.
like whether it's for graphics or if it's for acting or if it's for music, then he's back into things like the Oscars and things like that. They can release it in theaters. Whereas if it's a television series, they're never going to release it into theaters even temporarily. So I think that's the big difference between splitting it into 4 episodes and having it be a movie.
I think he also felt like he has to redeem his name because his name was tarnished for a while. Because some people attributed the movie that we saw not just to Josh Whedon, but parts of that was leftovers from Zack Snyder.
Yeah, but he also made BVS, and BVS had the same exact reception, which
Yeah.
was okay. People were excited. People went and watched it because Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman cameo, and people were just like, this is not a crowd pleaser.
And he's another example we talked about a couple of pods ago where we have influencers. We have a large enough population, the Snyder cult fans. They basically got this into fruition because they pushed Warner Brothers like, we want the Snyder cut, and then Snyder cut, and Zack Snyder was like, yeah, retweet, we want that too. Give me 70 million, give me 100 million, and he won. And now here we are about to watch this movie.
I'm going to say one thing
what they want, what they asked for.
Well, to be fair to Snyder, I'm going to give him one thing is that he has the actors behind him.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Yeah.
And recently we have learned, at least it's been publicly told, of Joss Whedon being a big dick on his sets, all the way back to his Buffy the Vampire Slayer days as Chris Carpenter. What's her name? Christina Carpenter?
Charisma
Carpenter put out a statement about Joss being really abusive on set. So I think part of that is like, okay, people don't want anything to do with Joss Whedon. People don't want to be a part of his movies, and the actors like working, apparently, as from what we can see publicly, like working with Snyder. So that's great. I'm glad he's a nice guy or whatever, and people enjoy working with him. Unfortunately, his style does not become a big, like, it's got a fan base, but that's it. It's not opening up his fan base. Oh, he's not going, oh, I'm going to take some of this criticism and I'm going to try to give people some other things they may want. I'm going to go deeper. He just goes deeper into the things he does.
State, kind of like politics, but yeah. Let's look at the next trailer.
Yeah, let's go on.
Yeah, the last thing I'm going to say is I'm going to laugh so hard if this movie sucks worse than the original.
At 4 hours, it's going to be a slog, man.
Yeah.
4 hours is going to be a slog. All right, let's go. Old.
All right.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Our next one, is the new M. Night Shyamalan called Old. Here we go.
Now this played during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I was kind of thrown off by this a little bit.
Come on, let's play hide and seek.
If you're a parent and you have kids, this is kind of how you
I
feel
saw
all the
this
time.
one. This was ill.
This morning.
Yeah, he was 6 and then he's
I'm scared.
okay. That's creepy.
Something wrong
You're suddenly pregnant.
Chosen for a reason.
How about that, Brooks? You go to the beach and then suddenly you're pregnant.
That sounds horrible.
And way not fun.
Wait, what happened?
Oh, that's the end of it. It was only
That was it?
1 trailer.
Yeah, it was a short
Oh, wow.
trailer.
It was
Yeah.
the Super Bowl spot, remember? So
Yeah.
Oh, I must have saw the extended one because I know the trailer I saw was longer than that.
I don't know.
What do you guys think of the theme here? We know what M. Night Shyamalan is kind of about. He does some mild horror with some twists and stuff, some cool stuff, some iffy stuff. What do you guys think of the theme, the idea behind this?
I think it's a pretty good idea. I think, like you said before, he does these things where you think you're going one way in the movie, and then by the end it's something different. It could be like everyone here was selected to be on that island for a purpose, for experimentation. They're just not aware of it.
Like cabin in the woods style kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm there. I like it.
Yeah, I'll be glad that he needs a few more hits. He's been slumping the last few years, and I want him to come back, right? So,
I watched. We watched Lady in the Water recently, and it wasn't the horrid movie that people were giving it.
No, it wasn't as bad as like The Happening or.
Right.
That was terrible.
I think what really killed him was him trying to do an action fantasy series, the Avatar one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that really broke his, him as a popular director after he did some fun, interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
But he came back with Split, right?
Yeah, Split. Well, yeah. First he did Split, and then he did Glass, which I enjoyed. So.
Well, he did Unbreakable. Don't forget that. That was part of that whole franchise. Glass, I didn't like at all. I thought Glass was another case of him reaching too far and falling.
I enjoyed it. I thought Glass was okay.
I thought Unbreakable was dope. I thought Glass was a little too much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to the next one.
Our last one is the
that's loud.
America.
You must heed my words before I'm gone, son.
I can't even front. This is actually looking like a better movie than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, same here.
I agree.
At first blush, I was
hate on it, but like I think it actually might be good.
Hakeem.
Well, it's hard. The comedies that we've seen that have come back after 20 years, 30 years, 40 years have not been good.
Right.
And that's more where my leaning is. Like when I even first heard that they were doing a project, I was like, just leave it alone, like leave it alone. It doesn't need a reboot.
Right, that's the thing. He got the happy ending at the end of the movie, right? So the movie's over.
Yeah,
Eddie and Arsenio look good. Mm-hmm. They do look good.
Yeah, this
looks better than that teaser we got a couple weeks back.
I just hope like those barbershop scenes and those other scenes that are similar, like they're obviously pulling from the first movie. I just hope that they're as funny and not forced.
Come up in
right.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. It was such a top-notch comedy.
So this is definitely my all-time favorite comedy movie.
That's too hard. Now you stepped over the line. Now we won't be talking that kind of shit.
Yeah, I agree, Keith. Like I'm gonna watch it no matter what, just because I love the original so much. But it just has so much to live up to.
It has a lot to live up to, and I don't want them to kind of like. If they try to try to redo it too tightly, it's gonna be corny, and I just don't like. Yeah.
So we're all gonna cross our fingers for this one, I think.
I still hope. I still wish they would have just left it alone, Leave it alone.
When does it come out?
March 5th. So we'll do a review.
Oh.
In
They
March.
could have redone trading
places.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been dope.
Some of those old 70s comedies, I think, are ripe for a redo with some modern sensibilities.
Dude, I'd love another Beverly Hills Cop.
Even that, definitely.
They were talking about doing a series with Axel Foley's son or something.
Yeah, but it's still like in production.
Yeah,
it wasn't because of COVID. It's just paused. Yeah.
Denzel Washington's son can be the young Foley.
Is Trading Spaces the one with him and Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Trading Places.
The two rich guys, and they make him rich.
Yeah, that was good. All right.
You didn't see they used them in the GameStop memes, like who was responsible for that. And they had a picture of Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd standing there.
Mortimer, we're back.
Yeah, I even liked in Coming to America, he had that one scene with the two old dudes. They were homeless, right? And he gave them a bunch of cash. That was a nice
Mortimer.
Yeah.
We're back.
Okay. What was the comedy that they gave the guy $1 million, but he had to spend it all and come away with zero?
Brewster's Millions.
Brewster's Millions.
Yeah, $1 million a day.
Great movie.
and then it was something like billions of dollars at the end.
Right, and
Yeah.
he couldn't actually have anything at the end, so he was like
Right.
renting all his
Yeah,
clothes and
and
everything.
they try to like loophole him into something, and you realize that he didn't own it; he had passed it on to someone else, and that
Right.
came to save him.
Hmm.
Yeah, good movie.
Yeah.
All right, good comedies. Okay.
Yeah, we got a good mix there: an action movie, a horror movie for next month, and a comedy. So we'll be reviewing all.
Zack Snyder might be all three.
Well, and of course,
So
we will the end of next month we'll be finishing up WandaVision again.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Ooh,
Hopefully, Keith and Brooks will catch up.
that's such an easy watch.
WandaVision's on what again?
Disney Plus.
Ah,
It's such an easy watch, man.
You got to go back, start with Mandalorian first.
No,
I feel like the
Yeah, but
chances
Wanda-
of me ever watching WandaVision are slim to none.
I think you would like it.
you
I
would
really
like it. I
do.
think she'd like it.
Yeah,
And
I
It
think you
is.
would like
It
it.
is not. It is not the standard superhero flair. This is
No.
just like a complete different.
that's actually why I don't want to watch it.
All right.
But you might need a refresher from Peanut Head on whose characters are related to
Actually,
what.
I would
Yeah.
be interested to hear someone watch it who does not have the explainer sitting with them.
All
I'd
right.
be interested to see if they go, okay, from the show, I understand this is what happened, or this person's this, or this person doesn't make any sense because I don't know who they are or why they're important.
That's you, Brooksy.
So Brooksy, the episodes are like 20, 25 minutes a piece. Would you be able to watch maybe three?
Three.
And then
First
give
three.
us- yeah, the first three. And then give us some notes.
Wow.
It's less than a movie.
I could, but probably not by next week.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
No, by the end of March when we talk about the finale.
The show's over, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's
By
3
the end of
episodes
March.
left, so you got 3 weeks.
Who knows? You might get hooked and actually watch the rest of it too. So
Maybe.
yeah.
All right.
All right. 3 episodes. Okay. I can do that.
Forward.
I'll let
Two.
Ed know you're going to be sending him some text. I don't want to sound foolish, but who is this?
I know.
Actually, it would make a great geek ask the geek
Oh.
episode.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I could watch it and take notes, like questions that I have.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. All right.
He's not off the hook, though, but let's continue.
I'm like, yeah, Brooke, you should do that.
We're gonna make her watch The Hobbit and ask.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to make anyone watch those movies. Like, it's an
Yeah,
entertainment
you have to
story,
make
it's an
me
adventure.
watch those damn
The
movies.
Hobbit. Yeah,
Hobbit.
The Hobbit are not good.
Terrible.
It's a,
First
it's
one
a
wasn't that bad.
cinematic pleasure.
That's a terrible movie.
No, the Lord of the Rings was good. The Hobbit was terrible.
No, The Hobbit was unnecessarily long. Like, why? How
Oh,
do you make
yeah.
that? That book was literally like 60 pages
Dude,
long.
I-
How do you make that into 3 movies?
So I finally listened to The Hobbit because I tried to read, and it was boring. So I got an audio book of it. So I'm listening to The Hobbit, and I'm getting to the end. So I have no idea how many pages are left or anything like that, right? So I've got no clues, context clues. So I'm listening to it, and I'm at work, and I hear Bilbo got hit in the head and knocked out, and he woke up, and the war was over. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? This is a classic, and that's what he wrote.
But it's a kid's book. That's the thing. It was a kid's
Yeah,
story.
like I read it in 4th grade.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Rings is
like,
more.
yeah, like that was literally like,
Rings is more for
fifth grade
teenagers
fair.
and adults. But
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the Hobbit was like he was still in love with cartography, like or whatever. Like he
Yeah.
described the trees and the mountains and the hills. How does a 4th grader
The
enjoy that?
lakes.
I'm telling you, I don't know. I find it. I love the ideas and the characters and that, but the writing style for me was boring as hell. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's a
You're
little
an
bit
adult
drier. You
now.
kind of have to be into like the whole. I feel like for The Hobbit, you probably got to be into like more of the elves and.
I've been playing
Fantastical
D&D.
stuff.
I've been playing D&D pretty much my entire life. I love
Yeah, but
hobbits,
now you're
elves, and
more
shit.
sophisticated and older now.
Yeah, like yeah,
You take
exactly.
11,
Like
12-year-old you.
it don't hit the same.
you would be like, this is pretty cool for now.
If you was reading that when you were really throwing those D12s,
Yeah.
it'd hit
And
differently.
then when you turn 15, you saw a Balrog. This changes everything. Like all of a sudden,
Yo,
you're like,
and what excited me about actually seeing that Balrog in Lord of the Rings was that it looked like the Balrog in the Dungeons and Dragons monster compendium. Like,
yeah, that
like
monster
you looking
manual.
like, oh wow, like that does look like the Balrog. Like they got it.
So just so
Look what
everybody
you did,
knows,
Chris.
I unleashed the inner geek of Keith.
Finally.
You did.
You're giving us reference manuals. Which edition was that with?
We unchained. Yeah.
Look, if I've told people,
Look how excited he
I've
is.
played Dungeons and Dragons. Like I've read all of like I am a Dritz acolyte. I just wear my nerdery differently.
That's fine. And we all get to carry it how we want. All right. So speaking of which, and it's time to release Brooks's nerdery as we go into Brookesie Bites.
Our Miss Brooks is presented each week through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
Yeah.
Cue music.
Yay.
Dun,
All right.
dun.
So, for this Brooksie's Bite, I am reviewing the FX original documentary, Hip Hop Uncovered, Rap's Most Notorious Kingmakers.
Wow. And we're going in a
so-
different direction. I love it. I love it.
So there's only 2 episodes that have aired so far. I believe it is a 6-part series. It's a 6-part docuseries. So we're 2 episodes in. So I'll just read you the little blurb about it. Set against 40 years of music history, this 6-part documentary series takes a deep dive into the paradox of America's criminalization of the genre and its fascination with the street culture that created it and still exists within it. Instead of telling the story of hip hop from the top down, Hip Hop Uncovered tells the story from the streets up, as it reveals the untold story of how America's streets helped shape hip hop culture from an expression of survival and defiance into music's most dominant genre.
Wow. Deep.
That is what it's about. Here is a fun nerd tie-in fact. It is from the executive producer, Malcolm Spellman, who also produced, wait a minute, I have it written down, hold on. Who also produced The Falcon and The Winter Soldier.
Nice.
Thank you.
Up to date reference. Too.
Research. Nice.
Yes. So it was very interesting to me. Again, it was only like 2 episodes in. So there are 5 kind of main characters that they're talking about so far. So we have Big U. Big U. He's from South Central. Hold on, now I gotta get the cast. So he's from South Central. And he jump-started the career of a bunch of people, including Nipsey Hussle. Then next is Aunt Deb. She is from Queens. She is labeled a pit bull in a skirt. I kind of like that description of her. She jump-started the careers of Nicki Minaj, French Montana, and she is Waka Flocka's mom.
Oh yeah, she's definitely doesn't play. Like she's yeah. And then there's Bimmy, who is New York's godfather of hip hop, and he is Aunt Deb's brother. Then there is Trick Trick. He is from Detroit, and he jump-started Eminem's career. Then there's Haitian Jack. He is from Brooklyn, as you would imagine. His mother worked for Papa Doc in Haiti, and he actually lives in Haiti because he was deported. Because he was part of a lot of violence.
Murders and violence.
So he talks about it. He will literally say I put holes in this person. When he's talking about it, he's like, I put holes in this person, blah, blah, there's a lot of theories around him organizing Tupac's
Tupac's,
shooting.
yeah.
Yeah, like I remember hearing about him. Like when I was watching this, I wanted to watch it anyways, but the part that I thought was like fascinating was when they were talking about Haitian Jack. I was like, oh, Tupac has talked about him in a lot of his songs. So yeah, so I thought this was really interesting because it's a lot of kind of like the like underground part of hip hop, like a lot of the stuff that's like not mainstream, not really what's talked about, but that if you're in the industry, everybody knows about. So like, even I remember like listening to the Breakfast Club at one point, and they were talking about going to Detroit, and they were like, everybody knows that if you go to Detroit, you have to check in with Trick Trick. Like everyone knows that. So it's kind of like that. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like if you don't, if you come to LA, you have to check in with Big U, like stuff like that. So I don't know. There's a lot of like, a lot of kind of what their on the record careers is like, I'm trying to remember, like they have official titles, but mostly it's like the stuff in the background that you can't talk about. Like that's kind of what they're known for. So
I was going to ask you a question. What high-profile artists did they get to actually come on air and talk about these folks, if any?
T.I. was one of them, actually.
T.I.? Actually, okay.
Yeah. So, but mostly it was just interviewing them. So far, it's kind of interviewing the main characters, talking about their background, their upbringing, and like just a couple of things from the present day, but mostly like still in their background and their upbringing.
Gotcha. Who was the one from Detroit? I've never heard of
Trick Trick.
Yeah, who's that? Was he part of like the whole what was Eminem's crew?
He's not like part of Eminem's crew, but he he established Eminem. Like you can't become an artist, a well-known artist from Detroit, unless you go through Trick Trick.
Through Trick Trick. Gotcha. Wow.
Yeah. He's like the godfather of Detroit.
The old mafioso protocol.
Yeah, they
go to
kind
Kansas
of
City.
that.
You got to kiss the rings of this family before you can start making money. And interesting. Wow,
Yeah,
and this is what FX put this together?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I highly recommend it. Very interesting. A lot of behind the scenes knowledge. And there are 4 more episodes to be released.
How long are the episodes?
An hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think it's going to go anywhere like spicy?
I do. I think, because I mean, they already was talking about like Haitian Jack is already very much like, I killed people.
Yeah, he's the one that's really, I'm surprised. Well, then he's not in the state, so they can't, unless, Haiti deports him, which is not, extradites him, which is not going to happen.
I don't think that'll happen. Yeah.
But he still has connections of people that he doesn't want them getting caught in a case, so he's got to be careful what he says too.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, but this is another way to bring in cash. I mean, this is a way to it is money making to put out these shows.
Hip hop just went nerdcore.
Hey, we got the guy from Winter Soldier and Falcon doing this. Interesting.
Yep. Yeah, and they interview Malcolm Spellman. There's a couple of other people that they interview and talk about, but those are like the main characters, the people that I just mentioned.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. 6 parts.
Yeah. Yep. Highly recommend. Very interesting. You guys should all watch it. It's well done, and it's interesting because it's kind of, I feel like it's a, they're making a topic that people know about but don't know about more mainstream.
Yeah, you don't know the behind the scenes players. You know the big faces, the names, the stars. You don't know the people who built the structures underneath them, and
especially when some of these artists throw out these guys' names in their songs, and your daughter is rapping along, Haitian Jack, blah blah blah, having no clue who she's referencing.
Yep.
Or Aunt Deb. That one I didn't know either. Auntie Deb.
Aunt Deb.
Queens.
Yeah. She looks like Like I remember hearing the first, like from what she looked like, and then somebody telling me like, oh, like that's Waka Flocka's mom, and I'm like, oh, she likes dudes. she definitely does not give you any vibes like she's on that team.
She has to, present a certain image. She was talking about one story when she was like young, growing up in Queens, and her dad was like a big time heroin dealer, and she was like super young and didn't know like what heroin was. Obviously you just don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. And so she like, I guess, got into her dad's heroin stash and like rubbed it on her. And then was overdosing at like the age of like 6 or 7 and had to be taken to the hospital. And like,
damn.
They were like, yeah. And then they were like, okay, you're, saved her. And then like took her back to her parents. Like, okay, your daughter's done overdosing from heroin. You can have her, here you go. You can have her back now.
Oops. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. Again, super interesting. Lots of good behind the scenes stuff. Highly recommend the documentary.
Put it on my list.
You should watch it.
Pop, this age of hip hop, like hip hop commercial hip hop era is filled with a lot of like drugs and actual violence and a lot of dirty stuff in the background. Like like when people talk about the directions that hip hop has taken and like, the violence and the drugs that they promote and this, that, and the other, a lot of that stuff was really actually going on in the industry.
Yeah, just talking about actually what was going on. It wasn't making stuff up.
And funding these guys to the industry.
Yeah.
Those record labels was really built on a lot of drug money.
And capitalism went, oh yeah, we can take care of that. We love that.
Yeah, because it looks familiar.
That's right. It's like we understand this culture. Yeah. We get it. Now let's put it in your kids' commercials.
True. I'm interested to see if they talk about 50 Cent at all in this, because she's got to come up somehow, but maybe not. I don't know.
And even the people who was behind 50 Cent, like, definitely like Supreme. Right? Like those were literal drug lords in New York.
Yeah.
The cats who was behind, who fronted the money for Murder Inc.
Mm-hmm.
Drug lords, criminals, like that. The cats in that drug ring that they broke up. The B.
The one with Casanova, is it?
No. That big. I mean, it was years ago, but like Big Meech and them, like
Oh yeah.
That drug cartel, like they were fronting. They were definitely like their money was in half of hip hop.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean NWA.
I keep thinking Brooks is on the Titanic because she's just slowly.
It's the camera.
I'm sorry. I had to bring it up. I was laughing.
Well, if we see a guy behind her start playing violin, then we know.
By the way, Aunt Deb was in Love and Hip Hop. I just noticed that. I'm looking her up.
She was. So so it was between this, or I also watched the New York Times presents I can't remember the title of it, but the Britney Spears documentary.
I
also watched that one.
I've heard a lot of people talking.
I heard about it. I didn't bother doing
Britney.
Research.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Maybe I'll have to talk about it next time. I don't know. Do we have time, Mike?
Didn't she just win her independence from, like, her dad lost the ability to control her money?
Yeah. Her dad, so after her like meltdown, which was captured and everybody saw, they put her on like a 5150, and based off of that, her going to the hospital, they were allowed to her dad asked for her to be placed under his conservatorship. I think that's how you say it. And that has now lasted for 12 years. So it's like, which is like so unheard of. And they were interviewing a lot of lawyers that were saying like, generally speaking, you have to have like an inability to like function to be placed on a conservatorship for that long. But they even like in the legal court documents, they call it a business. So it's basically like, they're not, it's Britney's dad. And he's saying the business of Britney Spears, like not even, my own daughter and her personal well-being. It's basically like the business. And it's saying like, they don't believe that she can control her business. And so that's why they need to step in. So she was saying, well, let's get another business entity that I trust that's not my dad to step in and help take care of the conservatorship. And the judge had been saying no. And then after this documentary aired, they had another court date and the judge approved it finally. And so her dad can now no longer make decisions for Britney Spears. So he was making decisions like, you have to do this tour, you have to do this appearance, you have to do all of this stuff for money. And so like at one point they were, she was supposed to do another residency in Las Vegas. And she like, it's this whole big show and she walks out and she's supposed to like, announce the residency and like talk about whatever, all the upcoming stuff. And she just like walks out and like looks around and is like, nope. And like keeps walking to the car. Cause she's like, I don't want to do it. Like, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. Cause it's not something she wanted to do. It's something her dad set up. Cause her dad can set up like whatever appearance that he wants.
Yeah. He was basically controlling her top to bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing that was trending with her was people owe her apologies. There was like, I don't know.
Well, I think the assumption that, especially in that time, that as a pop star and as a person, people were using her and using her image and using her, even as she was going through her breakdowns and all this, and people were just using that as content, as entertainment, and that basically all of these companies and individuals around her, like Justin Timberlake and all that, who had access to her, really should be like, look, we really should have treated you better, and we are sorry, and
we failed you. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But that hasn't changed. We still feel like the public still.
Didn't he just give some weak apology recently
to Britney and to Janet? To both of them. Yeah. But I mean, it's like showing an interview of her, of Britney Spears on Star Search. That's what it's called, right? Star Search at the age of 10. And Ed McMahon is like, do you have a boyfriend? And she's like, no. And he's like, do you want me to be your boyfriend? Like, how fucking creepy is that?
Yeah, those
so
really
disgusting.
creepy talk show guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
and he's a very popular talk show guy. Shit.
And people are asking her at the age of 15, are you a virgin? What's your status? Like, that's just like to think about all that she had to endure and go through. And she was really like the first person that was like on that level, on that type of stage.
And she didn't have any parents protecting her.
And her dad did nothing. Her dad and her.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, her dad did nothing. I think her mom, like, not to like take any blame away from her mom, but I think her mom was more just trying to like help her and support her. And like her dad was supposed to be her manager, and her dad was supposed to like help with that, to, say like, don't ask if my daughter's a virgin. Don't talk about all of those things. It's nobody's business. Like, I just can't imagine, at the age of 15, having to talk to like millions of people about my sex life and my virginity. And like, it just seems so, I don't know, like
wrong,
perverted. Wrong. Yeah. So it's like, it goes through a lot of that. It shows like a lot of that. And a lot of people were really complicit in it. Like, even I remember being like, well, she cheated on Justin or whatever. And it's like, maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But that was Justin's Timberlake's narrative that he put out, and she's probably this like, however old she was, 18-year-old that just had the love of her life. Obviously they had sex, everybody knows that, and like super devastated and heartbroken. And then her boyfriend comes out, or ex-boyfriend comes out with this like, you cheated on me, cry me a river, you're a whore. And the whole world was like, she's a whore now. And she's like, I just had sex with one person who I fell in love with. And like, and so like, it just shows kind of how it contributes to this meltdown that she had. And and how really she just wanted to get out of the spotlight and like nobody would let her.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's another problem, long-term problem with music and women and in general. I was trying to find who I was listening to a podcast about. I don't know if it was Hart or Joan Jett. I'm really blanking on exactly who it was, but they went through a lot of shit just being nobody was actually trying to protect them as people. They were using them as product and driving them around and forcing them into bad contracts and using them and just
I'm sure
Yeah.
it happens quite frequently.
so
Pretty par for the course.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right. Whew. Well, that was a great way to end the
2 for
conversation.
1, you guys. 2 for 1.
2 for 1.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, those are definitely interesting ones we gotta bring on. We should have a conversation about some of these things, just like the Tiger Woods documentary that James watched.
That's a great one. I encourage everyone to watch that one. Like Brooks, you mentioned the early videos of Brittany and Ed McMahon. There's some interesting videos of young Tiger, and even his dad wasn't there to protect him, and he's getting asked all these questions, and this guy should be learning like basic arithmetic, and instead he's already getting it's interesting stuff.
Yeah, and you wonder what happens to these kids, how they turn into weird teenagers and 20 somethings, and they're causing issues and they're having breakdowns and they're doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Off from that wonderful positive topic, we're gonna move on to our next one.
Latifah.
And I did not bring it up on my screen. Oh, wonderful. All right. So next we are going to talk The Equalizer, the 2020.
Mike just showed the original 82 Equalizer logo. And they go, whoops, wrong one.
So The Equalizer is a CBS standard hour television series starring Queen Latifah, about an ex-CIA agent who is now going to save people who need it around her city. I don't know what else to really describe it as. It's a very simple procedural, set up like a couple of shows that we've.
Why don't we start with who Latifah is and why she's kicking ass?
All right, Mike, go right ahead.
Oh, before we do that, Mike, let everyone know that
switch it up.
Hold on, Mike. Let everyone know that this is a reboot of a popular 80s crime procedural show that debuted from 82 to 86.
No, they don't know that because people didn't watch the first one.
At the time when we had like the Miami Vices and all those other shows, you had this for the older audience. You had an older white guy who was also retired. I think he was like British Special Forces.
Probably.
That was going around helping people when the cops didn't believe them and they couldn't get lawyers. They go to this guy,
You get to 18.
Yeah, right. I just.
He wasn't as funny as the 18. He was for like the older. What was the other show that used to be Murder She Wrote? Like that crowd of people.
Matlock.
No, what was the show where you had the computer guy? He built the computer to find all the people who needed help.
Persons of Interest.
That
comes on later. You fast forward a bit.
Sorry.
So of course, we know Denzel Washington did a movie remake of this. 2 movies actually of The Equalizer. Nothing really to do with the show. And then, of course, the original creator came back one last time and said, hey, let's reboot this and let's cast Queen Latifah. And unfortunately, he passed away due to COVID last year, but the show still continued to air, continued to film and production. And then Mike could take us away with the main cast star.
Yeah, well, basically, whoever's playing the Equalizer, and this time it's Latifah, as a former highly trained soldier, intelligence officer, retired, and now she's basically helping those who don't have anywhere else to turn. So in our first episode, we had the young girl who was wrongfully accused of murder. So Latifah was looking into who was trying to set her up and why. And then last week's episode had to do something with child trafficking.
Somebody had kidnapped a child to get the parent to do something, to break into a house for them.
Yeah,
break
the
into a
parent was
safe
the
for them.
FBI or something, and they wanted some files, and yeah, it was a whole thing. So, and then you have She's Not Alone, which is one of the good things that what I found was I wasn't sure if Latifah would carry the show by herself, but she's got a good cast behind her as well. Like the guy behind the computer, Adam Goldberg. I like him. He's been in a lot of good things.
Yeah, I recognize him, but I'm trying to figure out where he's a very specific face.
Yeah.
He was an Entourage at one point. He was in God Friend to Me, playing a similar role the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, he was on Friends for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think it's his girlfriend or wife.
Wife.
Latifah's old friend as well. They served together. So she backs her up. So it did remind
Sniper. Lisa Lapira.
Lapira, right. It did kind of remind me of Person of Interest in a little bit, where when it first started, I wasn't sure if Caviezel would carry the show by himself because he's so bland most of the time. And then when they brought on the other characters like Root and Shaw, it kind of, gave it some humor and some energy to the show. So I think straight off the bat, that's what they were trying to do here, and it's working so far.
Yeah, it's all about the chemistry of the cast and whether or not they can make you interested in your week-to-week adventure.
Yeah.
So far the interesting thing, there doesn't seem to be an overarching plot. Like some movies or some shows, like Person of Interest, has a specific, eventually this background of this thing has to be discovered. Like I'm watching one where the woman wakes up, she's got tattoos all over her, and they're trying to figure out her past. Which is
Blind Spot.
Yeah, Blind Spot, which is the dullest group. To be honest, very little personality in that group. But there's an overarching plot. This one seems very much so far in the first 2 episodes. There's no overarching plot. It's just that, we've set it up so that week to week she can solve people's problems. So let's start here. What did you guys think of Queen Latifah in number 1, the acting scenes and the fight scenes? Keith, what did you think?
I only saw
first one,
the first episode. And I'm gonna go ahead and say I'll give Queen Latifah a really good job. Just even off the first episode, it was I was kind of forcing myself to watch it at first, and I wasn't super into it and didn't really like the Equalizer at all anyway. But I really was interested to see why Queen Latifah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, not to knock her hustle. I think she's a great actress, but it felt weird to me. But watching her play that role, and even in the action scenes, she's believable, and it's good. It's good action scenes. It's good choreography in the action scenes. It's not slow. It's very fast, and she looks very comfortable, and she doesn't look out of place. And I dig it.
Yeah, what I said on chat was that she throws her shoulder into her punch, and that's really all I really need from somebody, is showing me that they actually can throw a punch. And everything else is highly trained CIA BS TV stuff. Okay, you can do a flip, gun, kata kind of stuff, but as long as you can throw a punch, I can believe you can do the rest of it. That's fine.
But yeah, I definitely would recommend. It's a recommended watch.
All right,
Brookesie, you saw it too, right? The first episode.
I did. I saw the first episode.
Oh, she did her homework.
I know.
It's a gold star. Gold star. You didn't like it? Is that what you said?
No, I didn't see the second episode, but I did see the first episode.
All right, what did you think?
I mean, I'm a really big Queen Latifah fan. Living Single is my all-time favorite TV show. It's probably the reason I lived in New York. And it was I don't know. This is just so different. It was such a stretch for her. I want to like her in it. I like her in it. I think I need to see a little bit more.
Is this
episodes.
not
Like, I'm
generally
not
a type
totally
of show
sold.
you would watch?
It's also not generally a type of show I would watch. That is correct. Like, that's not really my genre of TV. So I think there's that part of it as well.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
harder to pull someone into a genre that's not their favorite. You have to be exceptional usually to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, usually I'll watch Queen Latifah in anything. But I don't know. I mean, she's the only reason I watched the show to begin with. So there's that. But
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
Right. James, your turn.
I think we sell the old show a little bit short because I'm the only one that probably watched it to its entirety. The original actor himself didn't do a lot of physical hand-to-hand stuff. He was an older British guy who's an expatriate who worked for an agency, which I'll get to in a second. So it wasn't too much of like hand-to-hand physical combat. It was really him being a detective, helping out people, some gunplay here and there. And he was a loner for the most part. You know, he had some context here and there, but he was mostly by himself. This show with Latifah, which I think is done pretty well, is you first of all you cast her, and then you cast her also as a mom, a single mom at that, where now is a little more dynamic in the show. She's not a loner. She's got a family she's got to take care of and pretend that she's not really doing what she's doing. She's got a group of people that are now like actually have roles, you know, the computer geek guy, you know, the hacker, whatever it is. She's got folks that can like kind of like a team in the background. And I like seeing her not just do things on her own, but rely on some of these some of the personnel she's working with, but also be a mom and also do the same thing. Oh, my daughter is stealing her dress, you know, in the first episode at the store. How I'm gonna deal with that. Her mom's living with her. The actress, by the way, I loved her in Orange is the New Black, Haitian, by the way. Like, you got to shout out Canadians, I got to shout out Haitians. She's great. So, when it comes to the physicality of the show, I think, yes, that brings something much more different than the original show. And she's doing a good job at that. You know, clearly she's gotten some training throughout the years. I remember at some point she was taking boxing as a fitness class in the 2000s or so. So it's not like she had to go through a significant amount of Keanu Reeves style training to be able to look believable.
It's not like Keanu Reeves has to go through Keanu Reeves style training, apparently.
Well, yeah, he does it. That's like his real second job. And then back to your original point, Chris, on no antagonist. I think the CIA itself, the organization that's allowing her to do this stuff, will probably develop at some point as like her true nemesis on the show.
Yeah.
Well, episode 2, we kind of see they're not leaving her alone. They're kind of forcing her hand in some shape, manner, or form, but we don't know how that.
And there's going to be some backstories of her because she had a couple conversations about, you know, I did some really bad things. I helped some of these bad people. So we could see her more acting, not necessarily physical gunplay, but seeing her, how she reacts to things, that she weight the stuff she's carried with, and how that, you know, for that character and raising her child. I think there's a lot of good meat stuff here that's in the show. I'm surprised.
What stuck out to me in the episodes was they did a lot of referencing stuff that happened. They constantly had one character or another going, do you remember Budapest or whatever?
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
it's like okay, I guess now that you bring that up back to me, is that okay, I guess having all of these things referenced means in one way or another they're gonna come up, and that's going to be
Chekhov's gun.
Right. All right, Mike. What was your opinion?
Yeah, I pretty much gave it already, right? So I'm okay. I'm good with the show right now. Like, it's entertaining. It's got a good cast. The action keeps me involved. You know, keeps me interested. So far, the week to week storylines have been okay. I know it's hard. Like, it's gonna get tougher and tougher to be a serial drama, you know, and have original kind of storylines week to week, right? So obviously we'll probably have some rehashing of some plot lines here and there, but you know, what can you do, right? So as long as you put some kind of twist on it or some, you know, in that case, as long as your characters are interesting, and like James said, they seem to have good chemistry right now. So
yeah, what always gets me, like the one thing they also did in these 2 episodes, they introduced a cop, detective.
That's right.
And I gotta find this woman. She
Yeah.
literally walks in, shows her face in the police station or whatever. They have pictures of her. They're like, how are we ever gonna find her? And she's just walking around the city. She lives there. She's got a house. She's got
electronic trace.
Got a driver's license. How hard is it to find a 40-something-year-old woman who lives in your city? It's not like there's.
It reminded me of Teresa Henson and Person of Interest, always looking for the man in the suit in the first couple seasons. Remember?
Yeah, but I always figured he wasn't on the grid. He didn't live anywhere.
Right.
He was.
Yeah, he didn't have a child to bring to school or
right.
a husband.
He didn't go to Central Park for the choir and oh, this is great. She's living life just being a citizen. And it's an interesting thing to me. It's not like the CIA wiped her identity out. He's trying to find this person who doesn't exist. It's she literally just.
So it's kind of it's like an alter ego kind of thing, I think.
I'm just wondering, are they going to do this quick? Are they going to is he just going to be the good guy cop? Okay, they found her by episode 3 or 4, and she's just going to convince him. The CIA is going to be like, hey, she doesn't exist.
He's going to cover up her trails when she gets a little sloppy here and there, just to make sure it doesn't no blowback to her, probably.
Yeah. I just always find that funny when they're like, how could we ever find out who this is in a world of HD cameras everywhere?
It'd be like, when Clark Kent takes out the glasses, right? Holy cow! I had no idea.
Hold on, I gotta do a little. Actually, we just had a not The Voice. What's the American? Not America's Got Talent. What's the
American Idol?
American Idol.
American Idol. So we're sitting there going, "Is that Katy Perry?" I don't know. Might be Katy Perry? Does that look like Katy Perry? Sometimes I wonder. You can do a little bit of makeup and hair, and you can change who you are. Maybe not just a pair of wire rimmed glasses, but sometimes I think people can kind of adjust their look a little bit and disappear.
I think Brooksie's done. She's drinking the wine straight out of the bottle right now.
Straight from the bottle.
Yeah.
Chug, 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 chug.
Oh, she slapped
sparkling water.
No, she slapped the label on it to try and hide the wine.
Okay, I think it's a watchable show. I think I'm going to continue to watch it with some family.
Thursdays, right?
Yeah, it's a nice weekly kind of thing. You're not looking for some huge overall discovery or anything. It's just all the
CBS tropes, man.
That's right. We love those.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the age of where all the streaming services are taking over, nobody's really watching network television anymore, right? So
on our way out, I'm gonna put up something I started to watch. I didn't get to finish it the other day. Is on Netflix? There's a movie called Space Sweepers.
Yeah, I saw some of that.
So it's a South Korean sci-fi movie. I got it's 2.5 hours, and I was up. I had 4 hours of sleep yesterday, so I got about an hour and a half into it. And I was gonna say it was a really great looking movie, interesting cast, interesting, very diverse cast, and people speaking their own languages: Russian, German, South Korean, or Korean, English, all of which were just being spoken. Whoever you are, South Korean, yeah, sorry, but whatever your native language, and the main cast is Korean. But whatever the native language of the actor was being spoken by the actor, and I found that a really interesting choice, that it wasn't all one language and then subtitles for the various languages.
Yeah, I walked in. It was playing on the TV. I walked in. There was half an hour to go, so I sat down and pretty much watched.
Oh, you watched the last half hour?
So yeah, I was able to figure out what's happening. Right, they were trying to save the Earth from a bomb going off that would detonate the station that would destroy.
Maybe not. Because it's actually kind of Wall-E, Elysium.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Snyder's Wall-E.
It was
Zack Snyder's Wally.
No. It's actually it's fun. There's comedy. There's interesting characters. Now, unfortunately, like some of the jokes don't translate as well, but there's a great robot with some good comedy, good physical comedy. I would suggest
I know there was a father-daughter relationship or something, father-son or something.
Father-daughter relationship, group found family dynamic.
Right.
Some corporatism, environmentalism, kind of the whole shebang. There's actually a lot of different pieces going around. But I have to say, just like the set designs, the camera work, the CG, like all of it worked really well, and it wasn't a dull gray or yellow and everybody being somber and boring. It was actually spunky is I guess a word you could use for it, or like kind of upbeat people. So I would suggest, if you're a sci-fi fan, I would give it a thumbs up to go and try it out. I'm gonna finish it off, not tonight. Because again,
I'll wait for you to finish it before.
I have to wake up at 5:30, 5 o'clock tomorrow morning again.
Yeah, I might throw it on like this weekend or something. So I'll watch the first 2 hours of it.
Yeah, it's the first South Korean space blockbuster.
It's definitely blockbuster quality so far.
There's a few on Netflix, like from China. Some good sci-fi on there as well. That's comparable. So like, there's a whole genre. Yeah.
All right.
There's a bunch of different space stuff coming out next month, streaming and otherwise. The Debris. There's one I saw with our boy from. He played a freaking RoboCop reboot. They got one where they're in the moon, Russians versus Americans fighting.
That's the show I told you about. The For All Mankind.
That one. I saw the trailer today.
Yeah, that's season 2. That's the alternate universe. Like if Soviets got to the moon before the U.S. That's the show I was telling you about. It's a good show. It's Apple TV, but it is on our streaming service. So.
Oh, okay. Sounds like a weekend watch.
Got a lot of stuff on the list. We're getting back up into a big list now that there's movies. Actually, it's a little easier with movies where you could just spend 2 hours, be done, and not 12 hours. How did we watch like 22 hours of shows? Like every show was like an hour long and like 22. How did we make it through 22 to 24 hours for these shows? Like,
because we didn't watch them all at one time.
Yeah, we didn't binge them.
Yeah,
we watched them weeks a week.
We painfully watched them because we had to wait once a week.
And we had to. You had no choice but to let the commercials run so you could get up and go to the bathroom.
Exactly. So really, it was a way more. Yeah.
So.
Right.
And the last thing I'm going to say is release Black Widow already. Come on.
Yeah.
Simultaneous release.
I know. Trailer, anything.
Hey, that's a Red Hot Chili Peppers reference.
Black Widow is the John Wick we all deserve.
Wow. You're not going to let that go.
He is right. I'm gonna follow him up. All right. Well, I think that was pretty fun. We had a good time. Hit like, hit subscribe. Mike, where can they find us and talk to us? And you know what? Go ahead.
So you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Heroes Peak.
Yeah, TikTok.
Don't
We
forget
have a
about that.
TikTok?
Yeah, we do.
I just got TikTok myself.
Not us.
I gotta make.
Don't forget to follow us, Brookesie.
Us old people don't really use the TikTok. We have a young person holding it down.
Holding it down.
Yeah, and
Serena manages our TikTok. It's great.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Smash the like buttons on those videos and share them.
Okay, we got asked a question recently, so it's very quick.
Yeah.
The Heroes Peak name and where it came from. Now, none of you guys knew me in college, but this is very much how I ran in college too. Is that I had these grandiose ideas, like these huge plans, exactly how stuff was going to go down. So me and James and Mike were arguing basically The Last Jedi on Facebook, and James was like, "We should start a podcast." And I've been hemming and hawing podcasting for a long time now because I just like to tell people my opinions, and I was like going back and forth. I don't want it to be like every other geek podcast. There's a dozen out there. I wanted something different. So I had this grand scheme that we were gonna go through all of the superhero movies starting from like 1989 Batman, which is why that was our first podcast, 1989 Batman until Endgame. And we were going to basically do reviews of every single one, which I called the hero's peak, which was the peak consuming of superhero content movies specifically. And I figured like 2020 is the peak of all superhero movies and content. And that's where it was originally gonna go. And that is nowhere near what our podcast went through.
It evolved. We still can do that though, you know.
We talk so many other things that going back and talking about, like, I don't know, Spider-Man 3 does not seem like as interesting of a topic anymore. Like, I wouldn't mind talking about some pieces, this and that, you know, comparing and contrasting those kind of things. But I don't think just reviewing those movies is really the content anymore.
No, I wouldn't even do that. I would say let's throw up, like, if we want to do a throwback to some old superhero movies, we throw up some scenes and we just talk about what's happening there and say, you know, what were they thinking, you know?
Well, that would be every scene in Spider-Man 3, by the way.
Yeah, we could do all of the Punisher movies, all of them.
Oh, hey, I'm a fan of both the Lundgren and Thomas Jane Punishers. I love those.
The second one I liked. The first one was terrible.
I was a huge fan of that stupid ass Punisher movie.
I put the third movie better than that first one.
I didn't say it was good. I just said I loved it.
Oh.
Which was the one with Travolta? That was Thomas Jane, right?
That's the second one.
Thomas Jane. That was a good movie. I love that movie.
That was a good movie.
Terrible, man.
That was a good movie, man. That was a good movie. Why did you like it?
Because it was like a joke.
The whole movie was a joke.
Yeah.
The only one that was serious was the third one. That was over the top violence.
Oh yeah, I think I saw some of that. That was like ridiculous.
I mean, John Travolta.
Punisher is the way Punisher was supposed to have been done.
Yeah,
I think.
That?
Huh?
I didn't hear you.
Oh, I said the Netflix Punisher was the way Punisher.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I really thought Thomas Jane was a good Punisher.
He's a good actor. Like he did what he could with the role, right? So
I don't think they didn't spend too much time with him wallowing and dreaming of his dead wife that they did on Netflix, which was like
terrible wig of his though at the beginning.
All right,
with family getting killed, he's running.
Maybe one day, if if people want to give us money to go back through and review all of those old things, we would love to do it. But right now, we're just
you go before Batman, do Superman.
There was such a big gap. I thought 89 was a good starting point because starting at 89, 90, 91, you have a series. Like, yes, technically 77, but or 78, but it's like such a huge gap. You get some random TV, some very bad.
Sorry about, man. You got Superman 1, 2, 3, 4. You got
Supergirl.
Yeah.
All right. You could convince me to do that. That's fine.
Somewhere in there's a Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie.
All right, we get the gist.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. You have a wonderful night. Thank you very much.
Good night, everyone.
See you soon.